So today's Neoscene biology video it's not going to be like last time, where I just covered most of the creatures from one single continent. I will be going through my stick packs and covering the biology of the creatures in there. Or I could also just go through here. That'd be less fun. So this is just a mini stick pack. This is another stick pack. So yeah. Also, I guess each episode will have our own topic, whether it's based off of one continent, or one of the islands, or convergent evolution, or one of the lineages. So without further ado, let's get started. First off, from Neoscene Asia, we got the Asiatic black dragon, Archaeodracocharae asiaticus, which is the black dragon has two subspecies. So we got the normal North American species, Archaeodracocharae, meaning black-eyed black dragon, or no, black-eyed ancient dragon. Then you got Archaeodracocharae canadensis, which is the Canadian or polar species of black dragon, which is more slender and has feathering. And then you got Archaeodracocharae asiaticus, which is the Asiatic black dragon here. Now, one thing to know with wyverns, small and medium-sized ones, as the Oriental dragon in Europe, which we might get to in some other episode, exhibit something similar to raptor prey restraint. However, this model is a bit different. So instead of normally a dromaeosaurid would latch onto its prey item using those hooked claws and tearing flesh using their teeth and eating their prey while it's still struggling. Wyverns take a different approach. Although they resemble dromaeosaurids, their method of killing prey is with wyvern prey restraint model. When a wyvern is attacking, it'll latch on. It latches on using its front pair of claws, using its sickle claw, and biting down on its prey. It holds on until the venom takes effect, whether the prey item succumbs and dies, or gets paralyzed, or pretty much has become weakened and will allow the wyvern to eat. The Asiatic black dragon shares its environment with the Tetheract, Tetherus, Tyrant. What else? Tyrannoserpenthes, the Asian giant drake. There's another one. I forget. The mammoth boar, or mammoth swine. So it's mammothus. The knob-footed deer, and of course we can't forget lindworms. These predators, while here, are a bit smaller than the black dragon, than the North American black dragon. However, their venom is more potent. They hunt normally when hunting a big prey animal like a hadrosaur or mammoth swine. They will usually bite down several times and then hold on until the venom finally takes effect, and then it doesn't matter if the prey is dead or not. They'll start eating when they start eating. So yeah, usually Males are a lot bigger. Males are smaller than the females, however, and sometimes have feathering. And the main predator of Asiatic black dragons are Siberian tigers. Yeah, apparently Siberian tigers stayed around, though they have competition from the tyrants, Asian giant drakes, and the Tetherax. Though they could take down a tyrant if they're able to, if they want to. There's a swift bite to the windpipe. So those claws face upwards and can deal a lot more damage. Next up is the arboreal dragon from Europe. This is a species of griffin that here I'll go full screen here. This one, yeah, never mind. So this is the arboreal dragon, a species of griffin found in Europe. Now most griffins resemble terror birds. In fact, if not all of them resemble forest rockets. However, the arboreal dragon is like, nah, I ain't doing that, bro. And the arms went from being vestigial and almost useless to being really long, and this helps them thus climb trees. Also, since most of the Absurd Arena creatures, like Absurd Arena as a series, are genetically modified by Krulodon aliens to be different. Like they gave the giant krakes and winged krakes a second set of wings. They gave the Neo-Archosaurs forked tongues instead of the cooler 3-split tongues. While the Absurd Arena Reborn, which has the natural, actual, like what the animals actually would have looked like, kind of, ish. Some of these aren't genetically modified and are actually what the animals look like. The arboreal dragon is a very agile predator, and has chromatophores in its skin that allow it to blend in with its environment, which is something that the Absurd Arena normal series one can't do, surprisingly. However, it can do that. Also, the arboreal dragon, when it was first encountered, scientists had a hard time classifying it. It was classified as a drake at one point, then close to true dragons, then even a species of arboreal wyvern, but it is now accepted that it is a griffin, as it has a bit of a beak-like head, similar to the beaks on other griffins. Also, unlike most griffins, which dispatch their prey using a swift strike to the neck or skull, which would probably kill you instantly, these things, similar to the African cockatrice, which don't really have the more pointed, like terror bird like beak, and more have like a crocodilian-ish head. These ones subdue their prey by using those jaws and wailing them around, thrashing them around until their victim expires due to trauma. Or they'll sometimes use their head as a freaking battering ram and bludgeon their prey to death. So these legs are very effective with climbing. Next up is an African species of oviraptorid meet Acutura. Oops. You saw Raptorosaurus. This is Acutura. This is a genus of oviraptorid found in Africa. Its name literally means, I think, was it pointed tail? Yeah, pointed tail. And it convergently evolved since porcupines went extinct. This oviraptor said, you know what, I'm finna take that spot, bro. And yeah, you don't want to touch these guys. You don't want to bother these They literally do not have a lot of. They don't really fear a lot of animals, a lot of predators. As well, they know they ain't finna do shit about the back part. These animals are mainly herbivores, though they will sometimes chow down. They will sometimes mainly. This is what happens. This is why you edit your videos offline. This is why you edit your videos. They will sometimes chow down on eggs from time to time, but this is usually rare, and they usually do this to get protein and stuff. The plants are a main part of their diet. Like, oh yeah, and sometimes you can see an Arborea venator on the back of these guys, which are which I think I might be able to cover that one. So I don't have much on these guys other than don't touch them because you'll get quills. It's not going to be a fun experience, my guy. This is largest specimen. Most of them are usually around African giant porcupine size. Next up is the Australian Colajack. These guys, normally wyvern venom usually targets the nervous system or like the muscular system. Like you'll either die from like your heart shutting down or like your muscles contracting. Now there are some exceptions. The Tanzanian striker. I haven't come up with an official name for it, but they're like the small. This is like it's a small variation of wyvern that is a pack hunter. That one's venom usually targets the eyes, and if it bites you, like bites from that specific one are like extremely rare, and they're like the venom before you'll have enough time to get medical attention. Like with a lot of the animals here, if you're bitten by them, you have enough time to get medical attention from a doctor. Colajack venom. So the Oriental dragon in Europe's venom is corrosive and necrotoxic. I mean, not only will you get second degree and third degree burns if it gets on your skin, but if it bites you, yeah, your skin is it's gonna look like your skin is rotting off. That's one of the ways they hunt big sauropods and glyptodons. The Colajack's venom is targets the vascular system and can either kill you via dehydration, like literally water is leaving you, like you dehydrate so quickly, or you die via kidney failure. And they earn their name. The Colajack earns its name from its call on an urban legend where a dude in Australia thought he heard his name being called by one of these dragons. Dragon wasn't very happy about that. Which he wasn't trying to attract a person, he was just trying to attract a mate. These carnivores get up to around, well, size shown here, and are very, very fast. Like if you've angered a Colajack, expect it to. Good luck running away. Though it is most likely that it's attacking you out of self-defense instead of attacking you for no reason. Mostly getting bitten by a wyvern will most likely be that person's fault, as they did something to aggravate or disturb the animal that the animal didn't really like. Also, the Colajack is also nicknamed the Tanzanite dragon, despite it not living in Tanzania. It's in Australia. Because, of course, the land on Down Under has a freaking dragon that can kill you by shutting down your kidneys. Kind of like how and unlike the black and white dragons mating with each other, and the cockatrice and basilisks in Africa, which are griffins, but they still breed with each other to make hybrids. There are rare occasions where the Colajacks will sometimes mate with salamilas. Salamilas. So Kolajaks, their call is just generic. It sounds like a loud booming speaker. Also, Kolajaks are surprisingly friendly. The Neoscene petting zoos, Kolajaks are really popular in Neoscene petting zoos, especially in Aussie. There's literally one zoo in the Neoscene Australia which allows you to get like really, really up close, which literally has Kolajaks free roaming the zoo. Like, it's still not good to approach one in the wild. It's not going to attack you right away, but if it's not feeling too good, it's going to threaten you and to tell you to back off. And unlike most wyverns, the Kolajaks is not really able to shoot its venom. It can shoot its venom, but it can't shoot it very far. It has the shortest distance of venom that it can spit out. The highest distance being the African red dragon, despite its size. But these guys are really cool, especially if you've been to a Neoscene petting zoo. Now, this is just a generic species of drake. It's not any specific species. The genus name for drakes is Suchodraco, meaning crocodile dragons, given their appearance. Now, it is most likely that this is a Canadian drake or an American drake, but it is still unknown, because I haven't really thought of it. Now, I could go on and talk about drakes for an entire day. But drakes are really special, because most dragons... So dragons are either bipedal, so like the wyverns, true dragons, technically the amphitheres, and griffins are bipedal. They stand bipedally. I say amphitheres as some species can walk on their hind legs. Now, the extinct horse dragon, the Kirin, is a quadrupedal dragon. And there's also the swimming dragons, like the swimming drake, the Macara in South America, and the sea serpents. The only other quadrupedal dragons are Wyrms. Drakes are quadrupedal, well, with the exception of one that's going to be coming up soon. Drakes are known for resembling crocodiles and having strong bites. They have some of the strongest bites out of the dragon family. The Asian giant drake, of course, has the strongest bite of the drakes. The only things rivaling the bite force of the Asian giant drake is the Oriental dragon in Europe, the great fin dragon, or / great fin sea serpent, and the American snallygaster. I don't have much on this guy other than crocodile dragon, because if it was a specific species, I'd have a lot on it. However, next up, I think we actually got another drake. Now, remember what I said? Most drakes are bipedal. God dang it. Quadrupedal. Keyword most. This is the European bipedal drake. A species of drake that decided that it was too good for being quadrupedal and became a biped. These carnivores they're adapted for speed and agility. These predators can run really quickly. And they mainly do this to run down prey. Small prey animals like rabbits, mice, young emerald wyverns, and probably even although there have been no European bipedal drakes discovered on the island Oriental, they would most likely hunt down any Oriental dragon chicks that I managed to find. Also, European bipedal drakes are mainly hunt in pairs. They mainly, when targeting a group of animals, they usually try to drive the others away or search for any sick or dying or young members or herd members that were left behind. And they usually make mock charges, and whichever one makes the first attack gets to eat first. Gets well, they actually share the kill. And it's normally a mating pair. We'll get to mating pairs when we get to Proctoa and Ytlianisaurus, because they're interesting. The European bipedal drake, also, drakes are venomous. It's just that their venom is surprisingly weak since they got strong bites. Kind of like how Ariers are also venomous, but since they have really strong bites, their venom is like really light. There are a lot of drakes that have evolved to have weaker bites and stronger venom, and the European bipedal drake is one of them. Also, they can't spit their venom, sadly. Spitting venom is something that wyverns can do. Next up, we got this guy. Pherosaurus dynamospinus. A species of... I think either it's I'm pretty sure it's an Ipeninsulan species of Spinosaurid. Though there are rumors of a species on Proctoa, though it hasn't been decided whether it was a coincidence or an actual turtle. This Spinosaurid, its name means strong-spined iron lizard. How cool is that? The strong-spined iron lizard. Now, the Pherosaurus kind of resembles a turtle a bit. And their spine... Anyways, Pherosaurus is also a very good swimmer, thanks to that paddle-like tail. Oh yeah, and you will break your jaw if you try biting down on the spine of a Pherosaurus. In fact, this creature barely has any things that are daring enough to eat it. As not only will it use it, as it's also its tail, despite it being also used for swimming, it can also be used as a club. It can literally smack any predators, like say it's an unlucky Ceruvenator or Euchotyrannus, and you try biting down and you get hurt. These guys are actually because it's genetically modified. These guys are actually kind of small. This is the largest individual. Larger individuals grow around this size. Most of the like half that. Their spine is still very strong and sturdy, yet they're still able to swim perfectly fine underwater. I'll go more in depth on these guys when I get to the Eye Peninsula video, but these guys are pretty cool. All right, next up is the hippocampus, which is from Europe, a species of synapsid, a type of synapsid. Now there are a lot of new lineages. There are a lot of new lineages in the Neocene, and one of them is a synapsid group called the Thanatophonidae, or no. The Thanatosomorph group of synapsid, which means the terrifying. I'm trying to think of a name for this group, but it's one of the newer groups. I think it's called Thanatosynapsia. Thanatosynapsa is a group of synapsids. Pretty closely related, which are actually not really closely related. They're their own group of synapsids. the mascot of Absurd Arena, the Grave Robber, and its cousin, the Creeper, and Retreiver, and the Hippocampus, Protoaquia, Prototerrestria. Those are all thanatosynapsids. The hippocampus is now mostly thanatosynapsids are carnivorous. They either scavenge or hunt, and especially the grave robber in America, which feeds on the remains of dead animals, including the bones. Hippocampuses are herbivores, preferring to eat algae and kelp, which is kelp a plant or is that an animal? Because there's some things that grow. And hippocampuses are very common throughout European lakes and rivers. In fact, there are a wide variety of them in Erie Lake, which is also where their main predator, the British Harrier, lies. The hippocampus has adapted. So basically, evolutionary line: the terrestrial grave robbers, the semi-aquatic Protoaquia and Prototerrestrias, then the fully aquatic hippocampus. These things, very strong bites. Even though they're herbivores, they can still bite your hand off with ease. These things are also pretty big. One of the larger synapsids. What is next? Something. Next up is the lesser amphitheer. Now, I don't have a normal amphitheer stick made, since that was part of a vote, though I might make it. So the lesser amphitheer is a smaller animal. These guys are pretty tiny. They are found, I'm pretty sure, they are found in South America. And that tail is used for display. They are mainly, these guys are omnivores. Most dragons are carnivores, whether they're scavengers or predators. Some griffins are able to crack open eggs as well. The extinct Kirin was the only dragon that was a strict herbivore. But since that went extinct, that's our fault, because a lot of the extinct Neoscene animals were because of us, because we can't have nice things. Anyways, the lesser amphitheer is a small creature, and when the amphitheer and crested amphitheer were discovered, we thought that they weren't venomous. However, the lesser amphitheer proved us wrong. It's just that amphitheers have really weak venom, except for these guys. These also make good pets. The lesser amphitheers do, and a lot of pet stores and petting zoos have them. You will have to be careful though, as lesser amphitheers can pack a punch if you make them angry. And since they mainly eat live insects, mainly flying ones, it can be a bit hard to feed them. When they're young, you can just feed them like mealworms and stuff. When they're like newborns. However, when they're like ready to fly, you're gonna have to start providing some flying insects. Vegetable flies and storm bugs are a very useful food item for these guys. Also, these guys are social, so you kind of want to keep a couple of them if you're gonna keep one as a pet, or similar to rats, they'll literally die from being too sad and lonely. who is next? Oh boy. Do not get me started on Ariers. So, Neo-Archosauria, like I mentioned in the first episode of Neocene Biology. So y'all know what tenrecs are, right? These mammals that they're pretty weird. So you got one that can swim, and there's also carcinization from from crustaceans. Ariers are pretty much reptilian tenrecs. Basically, a certain group of animals went extinct before anyone else could claim it. The Ariers were like, haha, we're claiming this. So then we got a lot of Arier species. So in Neo-Archosauria, we got two main groups. Or clades, I guess I should suppose. The Cerodontosauria, it's either Cerodontosauria, which are cerodonted animals, the jointed tooth reptiles. And then you have Pseudotheropoda. So basically you have Cerodontosauria and Pseudotheropoda. So you got the jointed tooth lizards and the Fulsthera. You have the jointed tooth reptiles and the false theropods. Pseudotheropoda also includes Draconomorpha, the dragons. So yeah. But anyways, Ariers. So you got in the Alier phylogenetic, in the Arier group, you got false Ariers, kind of like false Gharials. Then there's also another similar cerodontiform reptile that was recently discovered in South America by a scientist. I need to find it real quick. I actually have an Arier skeletal. Okay, so the phylogenetic tree is domain is Eukaryota, or you probably don't care. Clade is Neo-Archosauriforms, Neo-Archosauria, Cerodontosauria. Family Cerodonta, which is the Ariers and Raylas, and Cerodon, which are the genus Cerodon. So I think this is Cerodon serpenthes. I forget the exact species. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but like, it's probably going to be a good one. Wait, am I still recording? I think I'm still recording. All right. So legless Ariers, small guys. They pretty much decided to take the role of snakes in certain areas, and they're very good swimmers. And we got a whole bunch of Ariers. We got duck Arier, shark Arier, dolphin Arier, seagull Arier. Even we got Ariers in space, even, which I will get to that in another episode. Because I don't want to be here all day. So don't have much on this guy, other than, haha, you thought this was a snake, but nah, it ain't a snake. Next up is the Nymph from North America, a species of chameleon that took the role of arboreal snakes. Now, when we get to Proctoa, we'll be seeing a similar animal. A grasshopper that decided that it wanted to become a vine. These guys are mainly insectivores and don't really have long tongues. That's all I have really for this guy. I don't have much. I have to come up with a lot of new info. Oh boy, another Arier. So this is Nessie, a species of Arier found in Europe. Not just in Loch Ness, which there are a lot of them in Loch Ness, but they can be found in any European river. And it's deep enough to support these guys. Unlike plesiosaurs, with the exception of the Neocene Jormungandr, which has very flexible neck bones. The Loch Ness Monster, this guy can do that famous pose that Nessie does. Now Nessie the Loch Ness Monster has a lot of interlocking teeth that it uses to capture fish with. Most areas are not just fish eaters. However, this one mainly eats fish. Fish is a huge part of the Loch Ness Monster's diet, along with leeches and sometimes smaller areas. Again, I don't have much on this one. I'll probably do a video covering areas and why they're so weird. Next up from Africa, we got the Pyrolysis, a species of cat that is very, very closely related to leopards. These cats have very long tails with spikes on it. They can be used for both defense, tree locomotion, and even hunting, where they can wrap their prey up with these spikes, or dangle them from a tree, keeping balance with their front legs, and grabbing their prey with their tail. Again, I don't have a lot on these species. Okay, this one I might have a lot on this. I'm pretty sure this is the South American Retriever. These guys are a close relative of grave robbers and can actually swim pretty well. That tail helps a lot with swimming. They mainly swim to get away from predators. However, they will also take to the water in other cases. These guys are part of the Thanatosynapsa group and are very closely related to the hippocampus. Oh boy, how much do I have? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 left. Okay, so this is the Australian Salamila. These are swift predators. They're smaller than the Koala Jacks. However, they have a special thing. They have a bit of a growth protrusion. Well, this is kind of from gene modification. However, these things are basically your average wyvern. However, they're a special trait from them is that they don't attract. They aren't very quick. They mainly use their arms to do the killing. They mainly hold down their prey with their arms before biting down, or sometimes breaking their victim's neck with their arms. These guys will also sometimes pair up with Koala Jacks. Stone slug. This is just a species of slug from actually, this thing is a cosmopolitan species, so found anywhere. They're unique. They're a unique type of slug, as they don't produce that mucus. They traded in their mucus for protection, and they're immune to having salt poured on them. Next up is Vesperotitan, a Proctoan species of wasp. These wasps are very territorial and are mainly carnivorous. Those mandibles are very strong, and instead of mostly sting. If you mess with one, they won't sting you. Nah, they'll bite you like really hard. They only sting you as a last resort. With humans, they don't really want conflict. Now, if you want a worse insect than the Vesperotitan, the Titan fly is a thing that exists in the Neocene. And lastly, we got a species of just an peninsulan Proctoan theropod, Zasperotyrannus. Kind of resembles the tyrant from Neocene Asia. So a lot of these guys I don't really have information for. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I might start something. Give me ideas in the comments for. I might make a contest where like submit a speculative creature has to stay within the lines of plausibility. I think maybe winners will get the winning creatures. My top three, the top three will get into Absurd Arena, the series. The fourth and fifth will get into Absurd Arena Reborn. I'll make a separate video discussing it. So yeah, bye.